Hi, I'm Emily Roseberry, VP of Product at Branching Minds.
And I'm Trudy Bender, MTSS Content Manager at Branching Minds, and welcome back to your weekly MTSS coffee break.
Hey everyone, you made it to our very last coffee break. Woo! And we are closing this series with an essential ally for collaboration.
And many times an underestimated one, our families. So let's talk about some best practices for nurturing meaningful partnership with our families. It's really important if we want our parents' partnership to start out on the right foot. We can use parent orientation, open house, those first exposures that we have to parents to really explain what MTSS is, along with what supports are available to their child. For example, at an orientation, you could introduce your interventionists and also provide some brief information about what a multi-tiered systems of support is.
I love this idea, Trudy. Without this kind of education in advance, you run the risk of parents finding out about MTSS once their student comes home from school and says, "Hey, I got pulled out of class to work with an interventionist today."
That's right. So we've put together a little toolkit with some ideas, examples, editable resources to make it easier for you to provide great information to parents right off the bat. Another important practice is to set a protocol for when parents are engaged in the MTSS process and formalize it in the MTSS handbook so that all the stakeholders are aware of when they should be reaching out to parents and how they should be communicating. For example, there are milestones in MTSS when parents should, of course, be engaged. For example, when students are needing additional support and being moved into the intervention process, maybe for the first time. How about when a student meets a goal? Parents would love to know that information, right? Or when a plan is extended or changed. And in all of these different areas that students might need support, not just reading or math, but also behaviors, attendance, maybe the child is receiving some ELL supports. We want to make sure parents are up to date on what's happening with their student. In the midst of all of that, we want to make sure to maintain a positive ratio of interactions with our parents, that we're not just reaching out to them when there's a problem, but we're also reaching out to them to say your student has had some success or just some communication unrelated to MTSS to say we enjoy having your student in our school.
Those little interactions are so important, and they're often forgotten, at least in the world of documentation. So the Branching Minds platform has a family communication feature that helps streamline all the communication happening to families, whether it's letters, phone calls, meetings they're invited to, positive, negative, and it brings all of that together so that everyone who's on the student support team can see it. This is very helpful in ensuring that we are not over communicating as well. No parent wants to hear from 4 teachers about the same issue in the same day. Not great for morale.
Along with considering what we are communicating, it's also important to consider how we're communicating, making sure that it's really clear and consistent. Explain the details of the student's plan and share the full intervention plan. Who's going to be working with the student? When are they going to be doing it? For how long? Exactly what does that intervention look like? It's important to create templates for this kind of communication to ensure consistent messaging across the stakeholders that are supporting that student.
Hey, guess what, Trudy? Branching Minds has a family communication template feature built in that helps ensure just that type of consistency. So if I'm going to generate family communication using one of the preset templates, the beautiful thing for the world of a teacher is it gets pre-populated with all the information from the Branching Minds platform that you would have to painstakingly type out. So all those details of that reading plan, the intervention plan, they all get filled in here.
It's great. And another thing you can do is customize that library description so that parents can get an even more detailed view of what's happening in your specific context, in your school or in your district. This was something that I did when I used the Branching Minds platform. I quickly realized that, hey, that description in the library is going directly into the parent letter. So how could I describe this intervention in a way that would make it really easy for a parent to understand? Finally, engage your families in the problem-solving process around supporting students. Invite them to those MTSS meetings. If they're available and can be there, it's so helpful to get that perspective.
This work is so important that many districts and states are actually moving toward requiring that parents are invited members at every student problem-solving meeting.
Yeah, that's right. And parents can often share strategies that are working at home that we may be able to use at school and vice versa. One example is a really common behavior intervention called check in, check out, in which students are paired with a mentor and receiving a lot of feedback from teachers. And then daily, parents can also receive a report on how their child did and participate in the reinforcement of that student and then their behavior at school. It's really important to train the parents on what that looks like and how they can best support their student. But when parents have that additional piece of information and contact with the school, that partnership can be so powerful in changing behavior for the student. Including parents in the MTSS process is essential because they care about their student and have unique insights and perspectives to offer.
And leveling up family communication is definitely a first step toward nurturing that important partnership. Hey, did you book your Branching Minds demo yet? You should reach out to us. We would love to show you how we can support family communication and all the best practices for MTSS we've been discussing in this series.
It has been so fun to have these weekly coffee breaks with all of you.
I loved it. Trudy, let's do it again soon.
Let's.